Hi, my friends. Leo Babauta of Zen Habits here, and in this video, I'm going to talk about our motivation to tackle a habit or a project and why it matters more than you probably think, and why I think it's actually underutilized. So, let's talk about it. Let's imagine you are really struggling to stay consistent with a habit. Let's say you want to meditate, or you want to exercise, or you want to write regularly, or maybe you want to take on a project and you're really having trouble staying consistent with that. So you're having a hard time staying consistent, and and you're wondering like what's going on there. So usually we think there's something wrong with me, right? I am not good at persevering. I'm not good at being consistent. I'm not disciplined. So it's almost like we have some kind of lack, right? That's how we look at it. And I don't think that's a useful model because there's not much you can do. But if you're deficient, then what are you going to do, right? So some people might say, well, just work the muscle, like working out. And I think there's some truth to that. Like working a muscle actually really trains us to develop a capacity to stick with things. But there's something that's missing from this model, and I think it's important to talk about this. And that is, how motivated are you? What is your reason for doing this that makes it so important that you're going to make the time for it? That you're going to put in the effort. So let me give you an example, right? If I tell one person, you know, go out and do a hard workout, right? That person might be like, well, I had a hard day at work. Like I'm feeling kind of tired. I didn't sleep good yesterday. Feeling just a bit tired, and I just don't feel like taking that on, right? And so they'll be like, yeah, I probably should, but it's easier to like scroll on my phone right now. Okay, so typical. This is not everybody listening to this or watching this will resonate with that, but that's a very common one. But let me give you a second person. This person is a Hollywood actor, and this workout is part of a plan that's supposed to make them look super, let's say it's a male actor. And they're going to look super buff for some action role. Maybe they want to be a superhero or an action star or leading, rom-com, leading rom-com dude. So they want to look, jacked, right? And they want to look really fit and lean and muscular. And so this workout is a part of them getting to that. And if they don't actually follow this, they're not getting that part, right? Like, there's going to be some other dude who's more motivated than them and will actually get that part because they've actually done the work. So, this person's livelihood, their stardom, the thing that they are really working towards the most in their life depends on not only this workout, but the next one and the one after that and the one after that. But they need to show up fully for this. Maybe they have a workout routine already gone. Maybe they have a personal trainer who's going to help them with this. But they internally are motivated to show up for that. Now, I'm giving you two different people. Maybe they're both tired, right? Maybe they both feel not that energetic. But one of them has a motivation that makes that workout like a must do. Of course, they could always skip a workout, but if they get into the habit of that, they skip the next day and the next day, and then they're just not, they're not going to make it. So this person has a really strong motivation to show up for that workout, whereas first person didn't seem to, right? Like there's not really a good reason to do that. They're not trying to be on a big, silver screen with their abs showing, right? Now, I'm not trying to say that we should all, try and, work to, look like a superhero or anything like that. That's not the point of this. It's that the motivation of those two different people was very different, and one of them is much more likely to show up for this workout and be consistent. So let's take it away from workouts and let's go to meditation. Let's say you want to meditate every day. But you would need to either wake up early, let's say half an hour earlier, or sacrifice some of your lunch break at work, or do it in the evening. But the evening is the time where you either like to relax or go out with friends. And so, you're like, do I really want to sacrifice that evening time? Do I want to sacrifice my lunch hour where there's not really a good place to go meditate? And, I want to, it's nice to have a break. Do I want to wake up early and like, what if I had to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to actually do this? Like, am I actually going to do that? And so you can see here that this person is really resisting the hard work that's going to need to be done to actually meditate for half an hour. Let's say they wanted to do that, right? There's not a good spot for them. They can't do it during work. You know, waking up early is really challenging. Giving up their lunch hour or their flexible like evening time is challenging, right? Well, the thing that to notice here is that this person does not have a strong enough reason for which those challenging things are going to be like no question. So if they had a strong enough reason, like let's say if I meditated, like it's going to have some kind of benefit for my loved ones. Maybe they all feel more peaceful throughout the day. So if I have 10 loved ones and my kids, my spouse, my parents, my siblings, my best friends, maybe it's more than 10, right? So if I have 10 loved ones and they all feel more peace during the day because I took half an hour to meditate, and I'd be willing to wake up half an hour early in order to benefit those people. So you can see here that if the reason is strong enough, we will do the thing that's required. And if it's not, we're not going to. It's as simple as that. There might be other things that are involved, but this would be a really key thing. Now, I've talked to people who, let's say they have kids, right? And they're like, I have a hard time, waking up early and like doing my morning routine before my kids wake up. And I really want to do this morning routine, but I just really have a hard time sticking to it. And I'm like, okay, well, what's your reason? Because like it's going to make me feel better during the day, and I'm going to be more productive, and it's just going to be a good thing for me. Okay, is that reason strong enough for you to like be super committed and never miss a day? And they're like, it feels like it. And I tell them, it isn't strong enough, not yet, because you haven't been consistent. So if it was strong enough, you would do it. And I give them an example. If your kid was hungry, how likely is it that you'd actually do whatever is required to feed them? Like if you had to do some work and you had to sacrifice some of your free time and you're tired, like would you actually like do what's required to feed them? And they're like, well, yeah, of course. And that's what we're talking about here. Your motivation to do what's required to feed your kids is so strong that it's not even a question. Of course, you're going to do something even if you're tired so that you could feed your kids. If they're hungry and you have to do some extra work, it's not a question of whether you're going to do that work or not. That work is going to get done if you're a parent. Now, I could say the same thing. Like if you had an aging parent who you loved very dearly and they were suffering and you had to do some hard work to help them get to the hospital, let's say, would you do that? And for me and for most of the people that I know, the answer is there is no question. I would do whatever it's required to get my mom, if she was suffering, to the hospital. I'd drop everything. There isn't like, oh, there's too many emails in my inbox or my clutter is not cleared up yet. I'd be like, screw all of that. I'm taking her to the hospital and there's nothing that's going to stop me. So that's what we're talking about here. There's not a question in these cases. I'll give you another example. This one was an artificial one, but I had a practice that I wanted to do and I was really struggling to stay consistent. So I made a commitment to others. And I said, if I don't do this practice every day for the next X number of days, I forgot how many weeks it was, but I'm going to do this practice every day for the next X number of days. And if I don't, I have to pay $100 to the political campaign of this certain candidate who I don't like. Fill in the blank for yourself. So there's a candidate who I don't like, and I would have to give them $100 for every day that I missed. Now, what I was really clear on is I was going to give that $100. It wasn't like, oh God, I don't want to send that $100. I missed a day, but I'm not going to do it. And I can't bring myself to do it. No, I was committed to sending that money over to this person, their campaign, if I missed a single day. The second thing I was really clear on is they were not going to get a single penny of my money. And what that meant was I showed up for that practice every single day that I had committed to. I had a strong enough reason to do it. Before that commitment, I didn't have a strong enough reason to do it. After that commitment, I did. Now, you don't have to create an artificial one like that. Maybe there's an inner reason that's strong enough for you. Maybe you care enough about this that it's going to be like feeding your kids when they're hungry. Of course, I'm going to do it. That's what we're looking for here. Imagine if every commitment that you took on, you found the reason that was strong enough where you, of course, are going to do it. And I don't care if it's a daily thing for the next 300 days. Of course, I'm going to do that. There's not even a question. I encourage you to find that for yourself, for one commitment. I'm not saying for every single commitment. I'm saying one commitment. Find the reason that is so strong that there is going to be an, of course, I'm going to do it. There's no question. And then you don't have to worry, like, am I going to be consistent? Am I someone who can persist through challenges? If you find that reason, you will show up. And if you stumble on a day, you will get up and you will show up the next day. That's what we're looking for here. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that for every single habit that you take on, but what would happen if you did? What would happen if you find that reason for the big projects that you decide to take on? For every habit that you decide to take on, if you found a reason that is so strong that you are going to show up no matter what, I don't care if it's raining, I don't care if you're tired, I don't care if there's a lot going on in your life, you're going to show up for that no matter what. What would that do in your life if you were able to find that? That's what I've got for you. Leave a comment and let me know like what your reason is, or what you're going to do, try to do, what you're going to practice doing to find that reason. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have other questions, share that in the comments as well. Thanks, my friends.